Some people absolutely hate the idea of getting local SIM cards when going to a different destination. I mean, look at this mess. Look at this mess. These are all SIM cards I've collected in just this year, 2020, and the year's not over yet. I'm gonna get even more. You know, having this collection is just waste. Plus, it can be inconvenient to keep switching SIM cards all the time. So in this video, I will give you seven reasons why you should not get a local prepaid SIM card and instead consider something else. So let's just get started. Hi, it's Odo from Phone Travelers here. We talk about everything related to traveling with your phone, local SIM cards, local SIM card reviews, international roaming, phone travel tips, mobile hotspots, just everything related to traveling with your phone. If you check the videos that I make, you will see that I'm a very big fan of local SIM cards. In fact, I have a lot of guides and videos related to local SIM cards, which could be a local SIM card review or a video guide talking about SIM cards in a particular country. But local SIM cards may not be for everybody. There are a few reasons why you should not get them or why you cannot get them. And this video is the counterpart of the video where I gave you 7 reasons why you should get the local SIM card. And yeah, let's just get started. And number 1 is something that I mentioned a little bit earlier, is that it's inconvenient to get a local SIM card each time. Each destination you're visiting, you have to stand in a queue to get a local SIM card, especially if you're in the airport, or you have to go to a store to get the SIM card and you have to register, and it's just so much hassle in order to get a SIM card. Why not just use your phone and, you know, roam internationally? Then you can just keep using your phone. Although you have to be aware that international roaming can be super expensive if you don't watch out. This video that explains why international roaming is so expensive, and there's also an eye up there with the playlist of international roaming guys where I talk about international roaming of several operators around the world, and I may have covered your operator already. So number 1 is, you know, getting a local SIM card can be inconvenient, which brings us to number 2, is that you have no single number. Let's say if you're traveling like me right now, where I've traveled to 6 different countries in just this year alone. If somebody from my home country wants to reach me with an actual phone call or text message, I may not be able to even pick up the call or see the text message at all because I'm using a local SIM card from another destination. So unless I switch the SIM card from my home country just to see, you know, what's going on, then, well, people cannot reach you. Of course, there are apps like WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger and stuff like that, but in some cases, especially some companies, they cannot send you a text message. You know, let's say the IRS or the tax agency in your country, they might have to call you for, I don't know, an audit. Well, they're certainly not going to send you a WhatsApp message. And if they do, they're probably trying to scam you. That's not the real IRS or the tax agency of your country, so watch out for that. And in most cases, they won't just randomly call you, but that's for a different video. Number 3 is if you have a locked device, you cannot use another SIM card. So what is a locked device? That means that you bought a company, no, you didn't buy a company, you bought a phone from an operator of yours, so let's say T-Mobile US, a Samsung phone from T-Mobile US. In this case, this phone is SIM locked, meaning that you can only use your T-Mobile SIM card, that specific SIM card, in that device. So if your device is locked and you go to Malaysia and trying to buy a Celcom SIM card, which is one of the local operators there, you cannot do so because the device is locked to the specific SIM card from T-Mobile. It is possible to unlock the phone yourself or ask T-Mobile to unlock them. If you're early in the subscription or the plan that you have, they most likely won't do so. If you just Google how to unlock your phone, or on YouTube there are many videos like that, but that's, well, not my territory because I haven't done it myself, but you can try and see those videos and see if that works for you. So if you have a locked phone, you simply cannot use a local SIM card from another operator. Number 4, another reason why not to get a local SIM card is if you have a CMDA phone. Well, there are 2 types of technologies that are used for mobile services around the world, which are GMS and CMDA. You will see what these acronyms actually stand for, and the majority of the world, I would say 90 plus, maybe even 95%, or maybe even more, of the phones and mobile operators around the world, they use GMS. There are a handful of countries, like in the US, one operator in China, Japan as well, and I think South Korea as well, and maybe parts of Russia as well, that use CMDA, which is more proprietary. And when you have a CMDA phone, you have the same issue that it's usually a locked phone. No, not usually, it's always a locked phone. And since only a handful of operators around the world use CMDA technology, which is not compatible with GMS, you will not be able to use your phone in well, countries that use GMS, which is almost every country in the world. With newer devices that support 4G LTE, you can still use 4G LTE in other countries as long if the frequencies are supported. But yeah, that's something very specific, and that should be for another video as well. The difference between GSM and CMDA. Should make that video soon, I think. This also brings us to number 5 is frequencies. You probably heard about frequencies, especially related to 5G, which is also a video I should make one day. Not debunking the myths, there are a lot of videos doing that, but just explaining how that works. But there are a lot of frequencies that are used in the world for 2G, 3G, 4G, and soon we'll also have 5G. The International Telecommunication Union, also known as ITU, splits the world into 3 different zones: Region 1, Region 2, and Region 3. Region 1 is Europe, Africa, most places in the Middle East, and former Soviet Union states. Region 2 covers the Americas, and when I say Americas, I'm talking about North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. And then we have Region 3, which is mainly Asia and Oceania. Region 1 and 3, so Africa, Europe, and Asia, and Oceania, they usually use the same frequencies, whereas in Americas, they use different frequencies. If your device does not support the frequencies of the countries that you're visiting, you may either not be able to use your phone at all, or you have to endure slower speed. So if your phone doesn't support any of the 4G frequencies, then you may only be able to use 3G or 2G or nothing at all. So that's also something to be aware of. There's a nice website called willmyphonework.com, or I correct it down here, and it will tell you if your device is supported in the country you're visiting, which is a very nifty tool. And I would really recommend you to check that before going to a different country. But in my guides I also talk about frequencies as well, but well, nobody really knows on top of their head which frequencies your phone supports, so use that website. Number 6, local SIM cards can have a short validity depending on where you are. For example, in places like Africa, some countries, you have to keep recharging your phone every month in order to keep the phone number alive, which can be annoying, especially if you're not staying in that country for a long time, but you still want to keep that phone number. Some operators don't even allow you to top up online, or they allow you to top up online, but you have to use a local bank account, which you probably won't have because you're traveling there. So it can be an hassle to keep such a prepaid SIM card alive. So in 2020 I've been to, well, the Netherlands where I'm from, Estonia, Denmark, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Singapore, Australia, and I'm now in Taiwan, so 8 places. I know that my Estonian SIM cards all expired, my Danish SIM cards all expired, Sri Lanka, some are still active, some are expiring. So you will see that unless you have a way to recharge your SIM card every now and then, depending on the policies the operator has, your phone number will expire, and which is especially sad if you plan on going to the destination more frequently and want to keep the same phone number, but you cannot do so if you don't keep it alive, which can be another nuisance to do so. And number 7, you have to deal with SIM card registration regulations in many countries around the world, like I think more than 75%. This is just pulled out of thin air, but I know a lot of countries require you to register your passport details before you can actually use your prepaid SIM card. In most cases it's done to combat terrorism, fraud, stuff like that. I can understand, but in some countries the privacy regulations, but in some countries there's no proper privacy data protection framework. So that means that, well, your data could just be out there, but not literally be out there on the streets. There's no real framework to actually protect you, especially if you're not even living in the country anymore. So if your details get exposed when you're not in the country anymore, well, there's not anything you can do. Plus in some countries the registration process can take ages. For example, I know there's one country, unfortunately I don't know it on top of my head, but when you get a SIM card you first have to, of course, bring a passport. That's mostly the case. You have to bring recent passport size photos of you. You may even have to bring an address that may have to be notarized. You may have to take fingerprints. In some countries there's so many requirements in order to just get the SIM card, and that's just time consuming, especially if you cannot pre-order the SIM card, or if you're staying in the country for a short period. Then, well, why waste that precious time just trying to get a SIM card that might not even be activated upon purchase? So sometimes it even takes a day, 2 or 3 before the SIM card gets activated because of the process of bureaucracy. And yeah, that may not be a fun thing to experience, especially if you're staying in a destination for a short period. So those were 7 reasons why not to get a local SIM card. Sometimes it's not possible, some reasons are just valid because it can be inconvenient for various reasons. Did I miss some reasons why you shouldn't get a local SIM card? If so, make sure to comment down below. And if you thought this video was insightful, make sure to click the like button. And as I mentioned earlier, I also made a video talking about 7 reasons why you should get a local SIM card, which, well, there's not an eye there again because I cannot show it again, but the eyes is probably somewhere there and you can click on that video. Like I said, I'm a big fan of local SIM cards because then I can enjoy local rates, but some people prefer to roam internationally or use an international SIM card like Surfroam. Surfroam is my favorite international SIM card. In fact, I have it with me at all times. I actually have it somewhere. Actually, let me just take it. I hope I'm still in focus, but yeah, here's my Surfroam SIM card, which, well, might be a little bit hard to see because of the light. And the SIM card itself, it's somewhere in this bag with 40-50 SIM cards, so I don't want to search for it right now. But the main reason why I love Surfroam so much is because they charge extremely low rates for international SIM cards. There are many international SIM cards, they charge ridiculous rates, whereas Surfroam, they charge you from as little as €1 per megabyte, which translates to a bit more than €10 per gigabyte. Compared to international roaming, this is extremely low with some operators around the world, and especially compared to other international SIM cards, this is very low. And usually with other international SIM cards, you have a package that's only valid for like 8 days, 15 days, or whatever, whereas the credit on your Surfroam is valid for 1 year, and if you top up at least once a year, then the SIM card does never expire. So that's why I really love Surfroam. If you're interested in learning more about Surfroam, make sure to go to phonetorist.com/go/Surfroam or just phonetorist.com/Surfroam. And just as a disclaimer, if you decide to get the Surfroam SIM card through this link, I earn a small commission for being an affiliate for Surfroam, and it just helps with the channel and the site phonetorist.com. So thank you for that. You probably also want to watch the videos that I talk about why you shouldn't get an international SIM card, a mobile hotspot, or roam internationally. There's a playlist up there. And if you enjoy this type of content, make sure to subscribe. Also sign up for my newsletter at phonetorist.com/newsletter, where I will give you some nifty tips every now and then, and Excel sheet with the best local SIM cards in over 230 destinations around the world, explaining why they are the best, how much the SIM card costs, how much it will cost to get you 1 gigabyte of data for at least 7 days, and cool information, and it gets updated once a month. So that keeps it up to date. That's it for today, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.